a little bit late right now. I apologize for that. I will wait for a couple of you guys to jump on. And the topic today is actually based upon experience that I went through just recently. And it has to do with a landlord here in the Dominican Republic. Now, I do want to start by saying not all landlords are like this, and this story is not about my landlord, not at all. But I did want to let you guys know this because a lot of you guys are coming here to the Dominican Republic, and a lot of you guys are renting all on your own, and you need to know some, just some basic rules about when you are renting here in the Dominican Republic. Because if you're renting long term, and not only like from a landlord, but it could be from a management company. It could also be from Airbnb. So it's really important for you to know this. And I thought I would tell you it in story form. You guys will know exactly what I went through. I didn't go through this, but a client of mine went through this. And I just wanted to teach you guys something very vital to when you're staying here, because you're coming here to save money. Most of you guys are. Now, this story is about electricity bill. So what happened was I had a client. I see someone that just said, good afternoon, Queen. Good afternoon. I don't have my glasses on. So forgive me, guys, for not reading the comments, but good afternoon to you all. Right now, I'm drinking some coffee, and then I'm going to head out to a couple of bars to actually do promo. One of the bars is one that's reopened and another one that is just opened, and I'll be putting those up. So just drinking a little bit of coffee. This is not going to be a long video, but I still just wanted to weigh in on this topic because it is so important. Okay, so here we go. There's a lovely woman. She's a landlord here. I've never had a problem with her, and we've always been cool. Now, she's not my landlord. My landlord is amazing. And this woman as well, but different people, they do different things sometimes to get money, and I don't understand it. I'm still trying to filter through it, and it's all about forgiveness on my behalf to her. And I'll speak more about that. But what happened was I got her a client, and the client was staying with her for 1 month. Now, this client came here, and it was his first time ever renting outside of a hotel. Now, he comes here often, like often enough to say that he's like a quasi expat. And he's here, and he knows Sosua like the back of his hand, but he contacted me, and he trusted me, and he said, Cerise, I've been watching your videos, and I really want to do what you're doing. I want to come and live the way you're living, and only for a month at first, but I would definitely like to come and, try it out. So I got him a place for $550 for the month, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, close to the beach. And I just want to make sure, hey guys, can you guys hear me well? And is the feed all right? Because I'm using my modem right now and not my data on my cell phone. So I'm afraid that it's a little choppy. If it is, I'll do a part 2 just to reiterate things because I do feel that this topic is that important. So, let me see. Yes, all good. Okay, you guys can hear me. That's perfect. Thank you. So now he comes and he rents the place out. Now, because he was a little worried, so to speak, about living on his own now here in the Dominican Republic, he still reserved another place in Bate. The apartment that I got him was here close to my neighborhood, Los Charamicos, and it's a neighborhood called Los Cerros. 2 words, LOS and then space CERROS, Los Cerros. For those of you who would like to rent up there sometime, you know it's a great place for people that are foreigners to come here and rent out. Now, I got him a place in Los Cerros where it's a beautiful area. In that area, in the building he was in, it's a gated building. Behind that building, it goes, a lot of them are owned by foreigners, but many, many years ago, they were owned by a lot of Jewish families because Sosua, for those of you who don't know, was actually settled by a lot of Jewish people. During the Holocaust, the Dominican Republic gave this area to refugees, to Jewish refugees that were leaving and fleeing Germany. So they came here, they raised their families, and a lot of them settled up in the hills of Los Cerros, where it's so beautiful. Like I tell you, these homes are gigantic. So I got him a little apartment on the main road leading up to Los Cerros. And he stayed there 4 days out of the entire month that he was here because he had his other place in Sosua. So he would go back and forth. He said that days that he just wanted like quietness, just peace, serenity type thing, he would go stay in the apartment that he rented from me. A lot of people, they do that. They don't want to stay in like El Bate where all the tourists is all the time. They like to retreat over here in the Dominican neighborhoods so they can relax and not be so much in all the activity. And so he did that. Now, sorry about that noise. There's construction going on in my building. So now what happened was, it was the end of the month and it was time for him to pay. Get his deposit back and pay his electricity. So he did that. Now, he didn't do it through me. He did it through the landlord. What happens with you guys when you rent from me? I go to Western Union. Sorry about the noise. Hopefully, that's going to stop in a second. But what happens is I go and I get you your money from Western Union and I pay it to the landlord directly. That way there's no discrepancies about anything. I know it's paid, you know it's paid, the landlord knows it's paid. And no landlord can say to me that you didn't pay it. And of course, not saying that my viewers and clients are dishonest, but nobody on the other side of the fence can say that they paid it to a landlord when they didn't. So I like to be that type of middleman. Then once they are paid up, you guys come here. If you need an airport pickup or drop off, I send someone for you, a Dominican guy. He speaks good English, and you're also providing a job to him as well. So, he'll pick you up and he'll take you to the apartment, and I give him, if you're using my driver, a pin, a Google pin. Now, he knows mostly where a lot of these apartments are anyway. And so he knows how to get to the apartments. If you have a private driver, like a cab from the airport, it may be a little difficult. So I always encourage, and not difficult as in finding it, but just a little difficult for you because then you and the driver have to find the place together. So I always encourage my clients who get a place from me to always use one of my drivers because my drivers are not, more expensive. At times, they're actually less expensive. So that sounds like the noise sounds like it's getting closer and closer to my door. Maybe they're taking something down the stairs, like a big piece of equipment or something. They've been having construction on upstairs for a long time. They're building a beautiful 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom overlooking Sosua Bay right here in Los Charamicos, and it is gorgeous. When I have a chance to go up there, I'll do a video on it. So, all right, so that's what I do. You guys get picked up. You could just sit back. My driver will take you straight to the apartment, and you're good to go. When you show up, because you already sent the deposit, right? You pay your first month's rent with the landlord, and that's it. Now, when you're leaving, the landlord will give you the deposit back. Now, the deposit is only because you might run up the air conditioner or you might damage something in the apartment, and there's no insurance like how there is on Airbnb. So you do have to pay that deposit. Now, again, at the end of the time that you're staying, you will get your deposit back according to if you made no damages and you pay your electricity. Well, this guy was leaving and, he contacted me and he said he checked out and everything and he got his deposit back and everything's good. And I said, wonderful. And just out of curiosity, just out of sheer curiosity, my gut told me to ask him how much was the electricity. Never asked this before to most of my clients. I never normally have to. It's just that I wanted to ask, how you get that sixth sense, and I just felt like my spirit was telling me ask. So I said to him, I'm like, hey, so how much were you charged for electricity? And he said $50. Oh my gosh. I was just kind of bothered by that. Not kind of, but very bothered by that because $50 is a lot. And I pay about 1,000 pesos a month here for my electricity. And I'm home all the time. I have my lights on all the time. My television runs in the background constantly. I have my all my devices plugged in. At times I'll use the air conditioner, but my fan is going 24/7. If I'm in my apartment, my fan is going all the time, like ceiling fan. And so, and I have hot water, and my fridge is plugged in, everything. So it only costs 1,000 pesos a month, which is even under $20 American a month. So I said, right. I said to him, that's too much. And he said, I thought so too. And I said, yes. And he said, but I just chalked it up as Dominican taxes. And I said, Dominican taxes. And he's like, yeah, you know how you get charged the gringo price. And I'm like, no, 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 you can't do that because that's getting ripped off and you can't encourage that. And he's like, well, I wasn't encouraging it. I just didn't want to be bothered with the argument of it all. And I get that 100%. But that's where I come into play because he's my client and I feel like I need to take care of him. So, I contacted her and I said, hey, why did you charge him $50 for the bill? And she said she didn't get back to me fast enough. So I just went outside and I went across the street to where she has a store. And I went over to her. And at first I said to her, I'm like, you know what? Something's wrong with your electricity. Because I literally chalked it up to that. Never thought in my mind that she would actually charge more. And I said, something's up with your luz. Like, tu tienes una problema con tu luz. Like, you have a problem with your electricity. She's like, no. And I'm like, yes, you do. Because my client should not have paid $50 for 1 month. And she's like, well, and she was a little quiet. And I said, where did you get this price from? And she said, well, it's how much the price is for the month. And I said, no, it's not. I never paid $50 for the month. And she's like, well, he was there for a month. So, and I said, I don't care if he was there for the month. I don't care if he was there for 4 months. He only spent 4 days. Where do you get this magic number? I said, show me the factura. And this is what you guys need to ask for when you are renting a place out. At the end of the month, ask for the factura. That is the bill for any bill. Factura just means bill. The recibo type of thing. Factura is what you used, okay, in your electricity. And I said, ¿Dónde tu factura para luz? Like, where is your factura? Where is your receipt, your bill for the electricity? And she doesn't speak English, but she said to me, she's like, I don't have it. And I said, where is it? You don't have it right here at your store? You just don't have it. She said, it comes in tomorrow. I'm like, if it comes in tomorrow, how did you charge him $50? And she's like, well, I just thought he's there for a month. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. That is crooked. That is not right. That is malo. You cannot do that. And she's like, why? He was there for 1 month. And I'm like, no, someone could be there for 1 month and not even turn the lights on, not even watch TV. Use candles because they just don't do electricity. Maybe never use the air conditioner. I know many people that come here and they don't use the air conditioner and they're cool with it, And so I said to her, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then it hit me like, this woman just ripped my client off. And this is a really good Christian woman. And she didn't mean anything by it. But in her mind, she's thinking he has it because he's a foreigner. $50 is nothing. And I said to her, you don't do that. You may think he can afford it. You may think that it's all right to do that because 50 bucks is not 150 bucks or 200 bucks, but that's my business that you're dealing with. And those are my clients that you're ripping off when you do that. And I work very hard every single day, 7 days a week, to make sure that my clients are comforted here, you know? I mean, some clients are just nightmares. You know, they're just nightmares. They expect the a golden key when they only pay 500 bucks a month. But, you know, I mean, that's just that. And those are expectations. And when people are here after a while, they soon learn to realize that it's not as inexpensive as what they thought it was going to be. And that's fine. But, you know, I mean, and I've had some nightmare clients, you know, like I can get into that in a second. But I said to her, you don't do that. You do not do that, not to anyone, whether they're my clients or your clients. You are perpetuating a problem that is, you know, well talked about here in the Dominican Republic. A lot of foreigners come here and they think that they're going to be overcharged for things. And she looked at me and she understood immediately. And then I said, you show me that factura when you get it tomorrow. And she's like, okay. And then I contacted the guy and I said, listen, she's going to show me the factura and you're going to get your money back for what you paid. And he said, wow, thank you, Cerise. You know, it really means a lot. And I'm like, I know $50 may not mean a lot to you for worth the fight or whatever, but it really means a lot to me because it's my reputation. And I'm not saying he's the type of guy that's going to go around the street and talk about how much he paid and that he got ripped off, knowing he got ripped off. But there are some people that will do that and they talk. And I don't want that because I do work very hard for your comfort here. You know, and I mean, sometimes the landlords are right and sometimes the clients are wrong. And I'm going to get into that part in a second about a client that actually kind of made things bad for himself. And I had to help him out as well. So now what happened was, you know, he got $30 back, right? He paid 50. And I said to her, my client's going to come here and you're going to show him the factura. He's going to sit down with you and you're going to show him the days that he used it, how much each kilowatt is and how much each kilowatt costs. And for the days that it goes up and down, because if she didn't pay her electricity the month before, then that means that it accumulated in one bill. So he needs to look at the days that it was used. And then, you know, and that, guys, I got to tell you, if this is the main way to get around that, as soon as you show up, you look at the meter. And I've been telling you guys this from time. As soon as you show up in the apartment, you ask them. And if you don't speak English, if you're not dealing with me, right, and you're just getting a place on your own, and you don't speak Spanish, rather, and your landlord doesn't speak English, you need to use that translator, and you have to say, where is the box for the electricity? And then you look at the numbers when you move in on the meter and you take a little snapshot with your cell phone of those numbers. And then you ask your landlord, how much is it per kilowatt, like per unit of electricity? And they will have to tell you that. And if they don't know, and they say, I don't know, you know, you just say, may I please see an old bill? You know, the bill from last month so I can look. And if they still don't want to agree with you, then you just say, all right. And you can go over here to Eda Norte and you give the address that you're staying at and they can tell you how much it is and they can write it down for you. Eda Norte is the electric shop, more construction. And you just go over there. I mean, and I know it may seem like a lot of work, but if you are afraid of being charged a lot, then that is a way around it. And she ended up giving him 30 bucks, 30 bucks back. And I thought that was admirable, to be honest with you. And he thought it was too. Now he's not able to catch his flight back home because some flights are canceled and everything. So he needs a quick place to stay. And he asked to stay at her place again. So we didn't burn those bridges. You know, I dealt with her on my own way, and I was hot. I was livid. I gave her a couple of words, not swear words or anything like that, but she saw I was angry. And I said to her, you don't do that to my clients and you don't do that to me. When you rip off my clients, you're ripping off me. And then you're making it hard for me to deal with you again. And everything was cool. I have another client coming into her apartment in February. But I said to her before my client goes in, I'm going to really need some record of the factura and until I can get to trust her again, And so she said no problem, and she understood, and she feels bad about it. And today, when I contacted her about that same man coming into the picture, coming back into rent again, she was like, okay, so there's no bridges burned, but we just have to make sure that we speak up for your client. I just want to give another situation, two other situations that really burned me. So there was a guy. He came here about maybe 2 years ago. I got him his first apartment, and it was a great relationship that we had. Got him another apartment, and then he was looking for another one. And so I told him that I can get him one from my landlord in Bate. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, beautiful, beautiful terrace, like a balcony, out of this world. Him and we went to go visit it together. And when we went to visit it together, there were some repairs that needed to be done. So I said to him, I'll make sure. I took a video while we were looking at things that needed to be done. I contacted my landlord and I said, hey, like, these are things that need to be done before my client moves in. He's going to take the apartment. So my landlord said, okay. One of the things was the roof needed to be fixed. It was just leaking a little bit, and like one of the rooms, not the main room. I mean, it really doesn't matter which room it is, but I'm going to explain to you why it couldn't be fixed in a second. Sorry about that banging. Why it couldn't be fixed initially. And so now what happened was my client moved in a month later. And when he moved in, he noticed that there were some bugs on the floor. Now, the bugs were on the floor because they went in and they sprayed and everything. And also, not only that, there's a crack in the sliding doors. So he was like, listen, they didn't do the repairs that they were supposed to do. And I was like, really? And he's like, I don't want the place. And I was like, really? No, he said he said he's not going to take the place for a year. So I said, okay. So I spoke to my landlord about it. And I said, listen, he's not going to take the place for the year. And my landlord's like, okay, well, listen, tell him we're going to go in there and we're going to fix it up for him. And I said, all right. So this happened a while ago, so I'm missing out on certain points, but I'm just giving you the gist of everything, right? So now the guy, his rent was going to be $1,100 a month, and that's American bucks. And so the landlord went in and he fixed a few things up. And the only thing he couldn't fix was the ceiling. And the reason why he couldn't fix the ceiling is because here in the Dominican Republic at this time during the year, it's rainy season, like December, November, December type of thing. And before you can get your roof fixed, you have to wait 7 days of no rain. And that means that after that 7th day, everything is dry on the roof and you can do the patchwork. Now, there was like 2 days that would go by and then it's like raining cats and dogs. And then another day after, raining cats and dogs. And then it's dry for like 3 days, if that. So, and rainy season is not so bad like that, but still, rain on a roof can make a huge difference when you're doing repairs. And I said this to my client, and my client was cool with it. And I said, now, he's going to take your rent down to $900 a month. And not only that, it's going to be $700 a month until the repairs are finished, right? Something of that nature. My client agreed to the terms. He said, absolutely. So he was moving in like a week later, okay, because he still had another place in Bate. So he was moving in a week later. And when he was moving in a week later, it was clear that he found another place. And he was just already had his mind made up that he wasn't staying in that place, even after he agreed to the terms. Now, he knew that he had to give a month. When you rent somewhere for a year, most landlords, they want a month notice if you're going to be leaving early. So they can either put it back up on Airbnb or they can secure a client during that time and they don't miss out on any money. And I understand that completely. I'm totally with that. So I said, well, you're supposed to give a month. And he's like, well, because he said, I'm not staying. It's not clean when he got into the apartment. And I'm like, the cleaning lady didn't show up? And he's like, nope. And then at this point, he started to become very very impossible to deal with. And I realized at this point that the Americanism was coming out of him. I'm Canadian, and sometimes that comes out of me as well here during different times. So I can tell that he was really not thinking with a Dominican frame of mind, not thinking that he's in another country. And then he's like, no, tell him I want my deposit back and my rent back. And I'm like, it's already been 1 week. Like, you can't get your rent back and you're not giving a month notice. So how are you supposed to get your deposit back? In order to get your deposit back, you have to give a month notice. Hi, Noche. And he's like, well, Cerise, you better work your magic and get my money back. And at that point, I was like, I'm doing nothing for you now. Absolutely nothing. And I was thinking to myself, he shouldn't be speaking to me like that. He needs to use his common sense. It wasn't that bad. They did go in and make the repairs. They just couldn't repair the roof. And he understood that. And now the place wasn't clean. That happens very often here in the Dominican Republic. They have to call a cleaning lady over. And, that happens sometimes. Not most times. Most times the place is immaculate. Right. And my landlord never has a problem with that. Him and his wife, they're up on it. They have very good building managers and everything like that. It's usually pretty good. So they did all the repairs that they were supposed to do. But instead of him looking at that, he was just looking at the minor things now. Instead of just kind of blowing it away and realizing that it's an amazing apartment. It's an amazing area. He's getting his rent decreased, and it's a great spot for him. He wasn't thinking about that, and I understand. At this point, he was frustrated because it was clear he found another place, but he takes a loss with that. You have to give a month, and then so he's like, work your magic. And I'm like, whatever. Like, at this point, I was just rolling my eyes, and I'm like, you agree to the terms. You're not giving a month notice. You're going to lose everything, because that's just how it goes here. I've learned that lesson from other landlord. And so he was like, well, whatever, and there was nothing I can do. And even if he went to the Fiscalia, there's no way that he could get his money back at all, because it was a verbal agreement, and that's what he agreed to. So 2 2s, fast forward, I did speak on his behalf to the landlord, and I was like, listen, you got to give him something back. You can't just, it was a $900 deposit, no, $1,000 deposit or something. And I said, you just can't, you just can't take his money like that. I think, at least $700 to give him back is fair, instead of nothing at all. And my landlord was fair, and he's like, you know what, Cerise, you're right. He's like, but next time you get people to sign a lease, because he said he was going to stay for a year. And he can't just say, like, after a few days, after they fixed everything. Sometimes a lot of the lands, they'll wait for the deposit and for the rent so they can go in and make those proper repairs. It's not like they are very wealthy, and it's not like the rent is thousands of dollars the way it would be in Toronto or New York or something. So they have to get that money, and then they make the repairs. And so I guess he got a little impatient, understandably so. He's not a bad guy. My client, he's not a bad guy, but he did, it was clear. I can't stress that enough, that he found a new place, that he wanted more. And so he wasn't thinking about the landlord and the landlord's business, and the fact that he was now impeding business. And so it is what it is. I mean, I won't work with him again in the future, because not only he did what he did because he wasn't happy, it wasn't right, and he could have stayed that month just to feel it out, because again, the repairs were made now, and they were taking it and made that day to clean things up. So I won't work with him again, but I will shout at him on the street and say hello. That's not a problem. And my landlord was happy as well. He was like, okay, Cerise, I'll follow what you're saying, and I'll give him back the 700. So that was a good thing. The other day, another little story of people that, sometimes take advantage and they don't even realize it. The other day, I had someone I like. I'm not mad at her or anything like that. I was upset. And she subleased an apartment from somebody that I know. Now, the person he subleases apartments. He had it on Airbnb and he charges, I don't know, like $60 a night for it or something. And I got it for this woman for 550 a month. She wanted to move out of the other place that I got her. The other place that I got her was like 950 a month, and it was brand new and modern, but she just wanted to pay a little less, and that's 950 American. She's Canadian. So she really wanted to just cut her costs a lot. She moved here to save money. So I got that. And she needed to move out lickety split. Her time was coming to an end at that apartment after a month, and she was having some personal problems with, her Dominican boyfriend and everything. So I was looking out for her, and I did her that favor. And I contacted a buddy of mine, and I was like, listen, I know you have that apartment, and I know you're in America right now. So, I can help you out, and I'll get the money from her. And so I went and I got the money from her. And I also had the locks changed and everything. Like, it took a lot to get the locks changed. They had to go in through the window of the apartment and unlock the door from the inside, take off the whole lock, because the guy who has the keys, this guy who's subleasing the apartment, he's in America. So the keys are with him. And so, and he wouldn't be back till January 12th, and she needed this apartment for the beginning of January. So, we're all looking out for her, and I got my motor concho to go do a bunch of running around for her. And my friend who's subleasing the place, he agreed to pay for the locks, and obviously it's his responsibility. So I took that out of the deposit. Not only did she paid the rent. She was paying cheaper rent, 550, but she only had to pay 130 for a deposit. That's unheard of. Usually you have to pay 1 month's rent as the deposit. So she didn't really appreciate that, I guess. I don't know. And I didn't take any money for it. Usually, and she's someone who I was liking as a friend, and so was she got here and she stayed for the first night. Like, she got into the apartment, she stayed for the first night, and the next day she was supposed to pay it, but I was busy, and I wasn't feeling well. So the next day she was supposed to pay the rent. Now the rent's 550. She gave me 700 American dollars, like 100 bills. And she's like, here. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be 550. So I handed her 100 back, and I had 600 in my hand. And she's like, oh, she didn't realize that she gave me 700. She thought it was 6. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm like, here. And I said, but it's 550. Like, you can't give me 600. I'm not going to go and get change for you. She's like, oh, can't you go get change? Right. And I'm like, no, that's not my responsibility. Like, you need to give me $50, and you need to give me the $50 in pesos if you don't have it in American, and you have to give me the proper change back. Like, because when she paid the 130, she paid it $100, and then she paid the 30 in pesos, but she didn't give enough money on the 30 at all. She was missing, I think, like, I don't know, $3 or something on it, right? And I mean, that comes out of whose pocket? It came out of my pocket, because I had to pay the motor concho a little extra. The landlord who's subleasing, he didn't realize what was going on. Like, he didn't even mention to the fact that there was, like, he just said, make sure it's in American dollars. Like, it's not even like he was angry about it, right? So I don't want to make a big deal about the deposit. But when it came to the rent, don't give me 600 and tell me to go get changed. I'm not anyone's dog here. I was doing her a favor. She needs to give me $550 and the proper change. And then when I said this to her, she was like, oh, I'm sick right now. And I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. I understand you're sick, but you still need change for this 100. And she's like, oh my God. Like, well, I said, and make sure you give the exact money on the pesos. And she's like, well, how much is that? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm trying to calculate in my head, but I don't deal with really calculate like conversions or anything. I deal with pesos constantly. You know, when people come here, they give me American dollars. They're always paying for the proper amount. When people, before they come here and they're getting an apartment and they send me the money in Western Union, they send me the proper amount and I take that back to the landlord. So I don't go run around and get change for people. I just don't do that. And I just thought that was disrespectful. And she's given me attitude and it made me feel like, wow, you know. So I'm showing the landlord that she paid her rent and everything left. And then I left her a little bit of a nut. I'm like, listen, I'm not your slave, eh? Like, I am not your slave. Like, I am doing something for you, and it's called a favor, you know? And I was like, I think I even said the F word. I was like, I'm not your effing slave. And you guys, I savor those words. I do not use those words, S word. I think they have a lot of weight to them. And when I use them, people know that I'm really doing an extra stress on things. So I told her straight up, don't give me that type of attitude. It's not right. Then she messages me back and she's like, well, I told you that I would pay you. It's not about paying me. It's not about the money. It's about the respect. You respect people that are doing favors for you. And especially, you know, that same day, I was dealing with the electricity as well with the other client. You know what I'm saying? So I was livid. I had it up to here. And I'm not angry at the woman now. You know, like, you know, I'll go chill with her and if we're on the beach or whatever, you know, I see her, I'll say hello out front or we're at whatever. You know, so I'm not angry at her now, but it's just, these are just different things that a lot of people that come here don't take into consideration. Yesterday, I had a Canadian contact me, a woman, and she said, hi, and she was asking me question after question after question. And I was like, maybe you need a consultation. And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll have a consultation. And I was like, okay, great. So I sent her my prices. I was like, $30 is 65, sorry, half an hour is $65 and an hour is 90. Now, during a consultation, we will go through so much. We go through different areas. We go through, I give you a dentist, I give you a doctor, I help you open up a bank account. I help set up almost everything for you that you will need for a comfortable stay here. An airport pickup, drop off, tour guide, off the top of my head, like beauty salons. If you're a woman and you want to go get Botox or filler, or even a surgeon, if you're a guy and you want to do the same thing, or if you want to get yourself a haircut, you know, like I tell you exactly what's going on. Nail salon, massage parlors, like massage therapy places, you know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what is covered in the consultation, but those consultations that I offer are very valuable, right? And so when I said to her my prices, she got back and she said, oh, you charge for your consultations? It's okay. I got myself a real estate agent and she's free. And so I got back to her and I was like, excuse me, I think anyone that is offering you time, something that is so precious, should be paid for it. Number one, you know. Number two, in my consultation, it's not just about real estate. Like, real estate is obviously covered in it, right? But I also, during the consultation, if someone wants an apartment and I have one available, I also get them an apartment and I waive the $50 finder's fee for that. So you not only do you get a half an hour consultation or an hour consultation, you also, I get you an apartment if I have one available for you within your budget. And not always will I have an apartment for you within your budget, but if I do, you're getting it and you don't have to pay that finder's fee. And she got back and she's like, well, you know, and I had no time for it after that. Like I said, and not only that, I said something along the lines of, you're taking the time of the real estate agent, and that real estate agent is not free. She needs to eat as well, as she should. She will get commission, but don't just assume she's free, right? A real estate agent sits down with you in the hopes that you're going to use their services in the end, and they'll get a commission, and that's what their job is. And a lot of people I've noticed here, they will contact me and they will say, hi, Cerise. So I'm in contact with a couple of real estate agents, but I want to use your services as well. And I refuse. And I say, no, I'm sorry. The real estate agent is getting paid here. That is their only bread and butter. That's not my only bread and butter. And I'm not relying on clients in that regard. I love to do that. And I love to offer you guys apartments because I know that my help will really come in handy for you guys. I know that. And I know because I'm not a real estate agent, I'm not taking astronomical amounts of money from you, especially if you're buying a condo. If the owner is selling it to me, then I have another story for you guys. So recently, I had someone contact me and he wanted to come here and buy a condo. And so the condo was $45,000. And I was connected with the owner. And so the owner's like, great, let's do this. But the owner actually signed something with Remax here. And what happened was she couldn't sell it to me. That condo went for 65,000, not to my client, but to someone else. They put like a few thousand on top of it, and they need to get paid. Real estate agents work very hard. So if you come to me and you're working with real estate agents, I will always say to you, no. And if you come to me and you expect me to offer you services that a real estate agent will offer you, I always say no. I don't do real estate agent services. And the reason why is because I'm a broker here. But also another reason why is because I don't want to take food from real estate agents. It's a very small town. And they know my name here and they know what I do. And when I came here, I came in like a whirlwind with my YouTube channel and my knowledge of just, helping people out as a soul coach and also being a people person. It just came so easy for me to be able to really help you guys. So after a while, I realized I was stepping on some toes here. And I figured out how I could be fair to everyone involved to make it a win-win-win situation, a win situation for you guys, for myself, and also the real estate agents. And that's simply just by me saying, if you're working with an agent, then work with them because they're looking to be paid, So I just want to say, that's the other side of the fence. Those are like the occupational hazards, so to speak. When you guys are coming here, there's a lot that goes on. I mean, I figured out that my male clients are my favorite clients. I love men. Oh my gosh. The women clients are very, very difficult to deal with. They are. I'm almost on the verge right now of saying, if you are a woman, do not contact me. You guys are strong and wrong. Don't contact me. I'm on that verge right now, but I'm not going to say that right now. A lot of married couples will contact me, and I always like dealing with the man. The woman will contact me and she'll be like, hi, I'm contacting you. My husband and I want to deal with you, but I wanted to deal with you. And my husband's on the sidelines. And I'm like, right away, no, not interested, because already she's showing me, she's exhibiting traits of control, so yeah, a lot of women, I'm telling you, a lot of women, I've been learning a lot about women, foreigners, and I'm just like, no, they on a whole other level. But the male foreigners have been coming here for a long time alone, and I think that's the reason why they're just so easy peasy to deal with. They come, they already know what their plan is. They already been coming from time. They already know their way around Sosua. So when I tell them I have an apartment available, most times they know exactly where it is. And if not, I'll let them know like the pin where the apartment is, and they'll look it up online to see what's around it. Very easy to please male clients. So I find that a lot of the female clients, they sometimes get a little, rough and tough and all that stuff. They make you dance and prance. Remember that song, Mr. Big Stuff? So yeah, there's always that occupational hazard. But again, renting and selling is not my occupation. It's just my side hustle. And again, because of that, I don't have to charge a lot. And again, because of that, I don't have to rely on customers. I just know that you guys trust me, and I just know that I want to help. And I know that being a middleman for all you guys is a very beneficial thing for you and also some of the landlords that are not promoting. So now, just to go through what I went through today, the whole everything, make sure that, if there's any repairs that need to be done in your apartment, speak to your landlord about it. Don't be afraid. Speak up and be heard, and tell them that if there's anything that needs to be repaired, to take it out of your rent. If they're not repairing it, then you tell them that you're going to get a repairman in there, or a cleaner in there, and you're going to pay them less. Right away, they'll get everything fixed immediately. And that's it. Like, you'll give them the bill and they'll fix everything immediately. Also, the factura for the luz, for the electricity. It's very important. Very good landlords will still charge you $50 a month, even though you didn't spend $50 a month, because in their head, they're thinking that's not a lot of money for a foreigner. And at the end of the day, a lot of you foreigners are taking that hit because you're like, well, it's not really a lot. In Toronto, I can only speak for Toronto really, but in New York, because a lot of my clients come from New York and everything. And a lot of my clients will say, in New York or Toronto, I don't pay that much. Yeah, but it's different here. And when you perpetuate a problem, and you allow it to happen, then you are increasing the chances of yourself being ripped off or other people in the future. And the Dominicans don't mean to do it really at the end of the day. They're just doing it because they're thinking that you can afford it. And why not? $50 is a nice even amount, right? It's really not a lot of money to pay for electricity for 1 month. So it's not like she said it was $200. I've heard those horror stories before. And a lot of people would be like, oh no, leave it alone, especially if I'm on the beach and I see that someone is overcharging and I'm on the beach. Sometimes a lot of foreigners will say, oh no, Cerise, leave it alone. It's all right. I don't mind paying like an extra 100 pesos. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the thing. The thing is, that's not the price. And by you paying an extra 100 pesos, you're making the price go up, like before the price needs to go up. So, the best way you can help yourself from not getting into those problems is pretty much by standing up for yourself. When you know something is not the right price, question it. Again, when it comes to the electricity, for those of you just signing on right now, remember, when you show up to your apartment, you want to make sure that you look at the meter. Look at the meter and ask your landlord how much you have to pay for each unit. Hold on. Oh, I got to go because I have to go meet someone at 4 o'clock. We're going to go do a couple of videos in Bate. And I just want to say, it's really important for you to have your own back. When you rent with me, just let me know what your concern is, and I will speak to any of the landlords about it. And I do have your back. But if you're unfair, then I am going to have the landlord's back. So it's always, I don't have a preference. I really don't. If you're a difficult person to deal with and you're just really, really picky, you're going to have to tone that down a little bit here in the Dominican Republic. Be a little easier and a little patient. You're coming here for a less expensive lifestyle and more laid back lifestyle. So don't give other people anxiety. Number one. Number two, look out for yourself, but be fair to others. All right. By looking out for yourself, again, see the factura. That is the receipt, the bill for the electricity, just so you know exactly how much you're spending and the average price. A lot of people will ask that. What is the average price of electricity in an apartment for a month? And that really can't be told because each person has a different consumption. One person may have the air conditioner on day and night. Another person may not use it at all. Some people, they may, use a lot of the hot water. Other people may not. They may just take cold showers. So it really depends. And how it really depends is, again, on your consumption. So just be sure to look at the how much each unit is, 14 pesos, for instance, for each kilowatt. And if you can't figure that out and your landlord's not giving you that information, then you can definitely go to Eda Norte, let them know what your address is. And even if it's in the landlord's name, they may not give you that information of how much the bill is, but they will be able to tell you in that area how much a kilowatt costs. Okay, so don't be stooped and don't be stomped on. Everything's gonna be all right. I just wanted to let you know that it happened, and it happens. But I wanted to give you just information on how you can prevent it from happening. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm not able to read the all of the comments today. I apologize because you guys know I love to be so interactive with you. But I have to go meet someone. He's waiting downstairs right now. And I don't want to be rude and be late. I already am like 10 minutes late. I feel bad. But I'm going to scoot out right now. And right now, I'm going to do a video over in Bate. I'm going to do one on this brand new bar called Smiley's. And it is across from Cheers on Pedro Clasante. It has a beautiful back gazebo. It's beautiful. They have like DJ there. They have karaoke there. They have a live band there. Tonight there's going to be a live band. If you're in town today, come on by. It's on Pedro Clasante across from Cheers, owned by Domingo, the old owner for Cheers. And it's going to be really good. I'm going there right now to do a video. And when you do come, check it out. Tell Domingo that I sent you. Alrighty, guys, have a wonderful Friday. I love you very much. Huge hugs, loads of love. Thank you so much for the contributions. I noticed that someone gave a contribution. I'll make sure I shout you out in my next video. And yeah, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.